There is a lot of loot. I made almost 9 million in just a couple of hours by looting 3 rooms. I was at the Interchange, which is worth paying attention to after BG rolled out a patch to increase loot in closed rooms, specifically in Ultra and Kiba. However, BG has been silent about some other changes. We'll talk about this later. My goal was simple: to go 10 times and check these rooms to see if they really started dropping more valuable loot. But to be faster, I also took the 11 SR key. It allows you to exit a closed room in the parking lot, which will at least allow you to avoid waits on railway or Amacam, and in general is just a faster way to exit the raid. Unfortunately, the Interchange is not so simple. To open the rooms, we first need to power them up. This can be done, unsurprisingly, with a special lever that is not at all close to the points of interest. This can cause a big problem. You go to power up, want to loot your rooms, and there's nothing to loot, because the bastards have already swiped everything. So there's 2 options. Either hope for the best and want to power up yourself, or pray that someone will be kind enough to pull it for you. My main goal was just to find out what loot spawns there, so I recruited a whole squad of guys to help me with this. The second big problem is the price of the keys. I don't even know what it is now, but when I bought the Ultra key, it was already 2 millions. I already had the Kiba key, but its price is also cosmic. So it would be great if these keys could at least pay for themselves. I started going on raids. To further reduce the wait time in the name of better results, I spent my accumulated Trimadol and SJ6. At first, everything was going well. Ultra very often dropped those Trimadol and SJ6, which by the way now cost more than 100k. You could also sometimes find Golden Star, Ibuprofen and a bunch of other normal steams. The payback was there. Kiba was also very pleasant. Spear spawned quite often, and as we know, it also costs 500 to 600. And besides that, you could find just a bunch of other guns. And the most pleasant thing is the regular spawn of class 5 to 6 armor. They were there literally every time, so taking a lighter and bigger backpack is really important. By the way, I recommend Trooper. It weighs only 1 kilogram and doesn't cost much on the barter. The next step was to open the safe room in Burger Spot with the toilet key. The room itself was not exactly generous. It seems that the loot there has not been changed at all. Everything is absolutely standard. And so, in total, our raids lasted about 10 to 12 minutes, sometimes more, sometimes less. It would be seemed that everything is simple. However, the biggest problem is other players, and there was some crazy ones with insane stats who kill. Of course, in the head. As a result, I died 3 times this way, mostly because I was running first, but still. But even so, I still farmed about 9 million. You ask, what about Ladix? I want to know that I looted Ultra exactly 10 times, and in all 10 times there was only one wait when they spawned. And there were 2 of them at once, and a defibrillator also appeared, and I was insanely happy. Until the moment I encountered Killa. Yes, you heard that right. Killa also started spawning on Interchange, alone and sometimes with a Killa. Over the course of the raids he was really quite common. Killa not so much, but Killa literally every other time. Most often he hung out on the 2nd floor in Jacobs, and sometimes on the first near Mantis or near Brutal. In Izbushka also on the 2nd floor. He was in the way, of course, but not so much that he was particularly dangerous. As luck would have it, I got his dark tag. Oh, what's happening? I have to get out of here. Did I escape from Tarkov?
And he bought a subscription to Patreon and become a real giga chat. And in his hands he had only metal weapons, because he had seen hundreds of weapon builds there, and he could see enemies through darkness and lights, and the farming regions allowed him to make millions. Link in the description and comments.
Back to the raid when I found Ledix. What do you think killed me? Killa? Killa, a professional PMC, a shit-faced scav with a shotgun. Those who chose the correct answer rejoice. I also noticed one more feature. A very important element is to turn off the alarm. This can be done in the computer area closer to Oli. On the map, this is here. This button will turn off all the alarms on the location. There's also, of course, a second button opposite the burger spot. However, it's almost useless and only turns off the alarm on touch light. By the way, the 11 SR key is quite cheap and pays for itself 100%. Consider it from the first opening, and in all ways I even found a Bitcoin there, which almost 10 times its price already and beats it. What is Killa and Killa's behavior like in general? They don't walk right next to each other and they don't spawn together very often. I've only seen it there twice. They can even be on different floors a decent distance apart. Therefore, I recommend immediately throwing a grenade from the second floor into the Kiba area, and then throwing another grenade into Jacobs, and somewhere in the middle of the second floor to catch several triggers at once. I recommend taking at least 4 grenades with you. Not necessarily explosive, but at least flash noise grenades. In all my raids, I never met them either on Oli or Gashan, anywhere except near Kiba, so most likely all the other spawns were remote. In terms of weapons, anything on a good cartridge and with optics will suit it here. The most budget option would be to take some Weapon Hunter or RFB, and of course complete it with the Yelkan optics. It's desirable to take M61 ammo to penetrate Killa and Killa's masks. Alternatively, you can take a Mosin on the secondary with the SNB ammo. Farming tactic. To be honest, I think it will be incredibly difficult for an ordinary solo player, so I would recommend taking at least one teammate. And so, you span and disperse in different directions. One runs to Ultra, the other to the power station. And when you get to Ultra, let him pull the lever. After you've looted the small room, your teammate can just approach Kiba. Your task by this time is to take up a position on the second floor to control the area in front of this room, and also find out if there are Killa and Killa. I know you will start doing everything like this, so it's not necessary to lie down only here. You can also close to the escalator from the opposite side. And in general, there are a lot of options, so don't be predictable. And while you cover Kiba, your teammate will go and loot it. At the moment when he has almost finished looting, he gives you a signal and you want to open the safe room. He covers you while you go down, and you both walk to the tent, to the escalator that will take you down to the parking lot. Next, just go straight and left, enter the room. This option seems to me to be the most honest, fair and effective. How much loot did I end up getting from these 7 survivals out of 10 raids? 12 class 5 armor plates and 13 class 6. Only the side ones can be sold on the flea market, and in total they will give 200,000. And even if you just sell everything else to Wegman, you will get about 700,000 in profit. Among the guns, I took out 3 spears, 2 assembled vectors, 1 stock RSS, SV-98 and Verisk. This is a little over 2 millions. Steams and painkillers. It turned out to be about 1 million. And the rest of the first 8 keys are another 500,000. There's also a bunch of trash that I didn't even sort for 1.3 million. And from the most valuable, I pulled out 2 Latexes, Bitcoin, a defibrillator, sugar. If the Latexes were with the tick, they would be 1.5 million each, and in total the elite loot would cost 4.3 million. I also forgot to show the intelligence folder, and I also didn't collect a bunch of other stuff like MCX, less valuable steams. Therefore, let's consider that I took out the Latexes with the tick, and so the total price will be about 9 million. Yes, such a farm is clearly not for beginners. The point is that you need to know the location and be able to PvP. The location has finally come to life, and that makes me very happy, because for about 4 vibes this location was just dead and useless. Write your opinion in the comments. Do you like this location in general? Will you play here? See you next time. Bye bye. Good luck.